If you're watching this video, you're probably like me and you've been following the Sonic Frontiers reveals on IGN, which is really cool, except Sega have been using the worst marketing strategy I have ever seen used for a video game. They are actively hurting the reputation of Sonic Frontiers, and I'm going to show you exactly what Sega needed to do using exactly the same material to promote the game properly and to give people a much more positive outlook on this fun, quirky, open zone game. To catch you up to Sonic speed, what we've been getting is extended gameplay looks for different aspects of Frontiers, developer Q&As, some hands-on gameplay impressions from Summer Games Fest and IGN's Mitchell Saltzman all the way through June. And to top that off, of course, we had the sudden announcement of Sonic Central, a look at the future of the Sonic IP all the way through 2022, which raised our hopes massively. And the funny but not really funny thing is that until the hands-on impression from IGN, all of the marketing material was making this game look like a bland, soulless attempt to recapture the magic of an open world game. I attribute this to one fatal flaw: Sega are misrepresenting their product, and that is really stupid. You see, the first two major Sonic Frontiers videos were extended, contextless gameplay looks at both exploration and combat. Exploration, of course, involved a look at Sonic's general movement, boosting, walking, jumping, rail grinding, and climbing, because we all know it's not an open world game unless you can climb in it. When I was watching these videos, of course, I was expecting a little green stamina wheel to deplete when he was climbing, but of course that didn't happen because there was no user interface to be seen. Frontiers is of course going to have a UI that was recently leaked from Summer Games Fest, and speaking of Summer Games Fest, this is the event that Sega actively had security blocking footage and videos, and there were people hiding in bushes to stop other people from taking pictures. They were trying to hide their gameplay as much as possible, which is such a strange situation and really looks dodgy as far as a marketing standpoint goes. Now, as far as the UI goes, the lack of it in a gameplay first look is baffling. It creates an unfinished look to the world. Add to this what I previously mentioned, the lack of context as to why you're doing what you're doing, and this created the weakest possible impression of Sonic Frontiers. The exploration trailer especially looks absolutely boring because apart from simple puzzles, there's really not much else going on aside from some rough animations. The combat trailer, of course, a little more action-packed, showing off a fairly varied roster of moves. Jumping attacks, mid-air kicks like Lost World, that cool long-range dash attack, a parry and spin attacks along with some finishers. But just showing the combat, combined with just how many attacks it took to knock down an enemy, made the game look like it is going to crawl at a snail's pace, especially for a Sonic title. That, along with further unfinished looking animations, again showed the game off in such a bad light. Because the fact is, these videos are making it look like Sonic Frontiers just consists of walking around and attacking endless enemies, when that's really not the case. There's so much more to this game. Whilst exploration and combat are obviously parts of Sonic Frontiers, we are in fact combining these elements together along with other parts of the game that haven't been shown off yet and are under NDA until the 29th of June. Together, they will make a more cohesive, interesting gameplay loop than what is being shown off by Sega and IGN so far. There are still plenty of valid concerns about Sonic Frontiers, of course I'm not downplaying any of them. I will say the use of an early unpolished build to show the game off with bad animations, pop-in environment issues, and the use of a single piano-led track for the gameplay combat are bad ways to market your open world action game. It is so frustrating to see the marketing go out in this direction because Sega have not explained what their game is and are just giving us aimless gameplay videos, which really misrepresents what they're trying to do. And it's incredibly frustrating to see this in general, but even more so because we're dealing with Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is arguably Sega's most important IP. It brings in money even when there is no game release. They've had an absolute stellar year so far with Sonic Origins and Sonic the Movie 2. Sega have a lot to prove. It has been 5 years since Sonic Forces, which was the most mid game I've ever played in my life. And they need to prove it not just to the fanbase but to the gaming world alike, because Sonic tends to become a joke. Giving contextless teasers like they have been just muddies already muddy water. There is a time and a place, of course, for extended gameplay videos, but it should not be the first thing you see of a game. And then there's the ever confusing situation with Sonic Central, which was scheduled to go live at the exact same time as the IGN hands-on. So a lot of us tuned into Sonic Central expecting a full trailer or something for Frontiers, only to be greeted with about 10 seconds of boss footage. Now, was it cool footage? Yeah, arguably it was, but this is not the point. There was no context, we still didn't know the gameplay loop, it just kind of didn't work. The announcement of the Knuckles prologue animation was pretty nice though, and there were some other cool things in there, but overall Sonic Central created an expectation to deliver something great, and it really dashed our expectations. Honestly, not really much need for that presentation to be there in June, and definitely not at the same time as arguably the most important piece of marketing that they have in their roster, the IGN hands-on. If you've not seen it, the Impressions video is a veritable treasure trove of information, notifying us on how the Frontiers actually plays, how it actually feels, and how the flow of the game works, with the open world reimagining how Sonic levels have their multiple parts and multiple levels, different moves like the Lightspeed Dash returning, and also how collectibles and combat work together. This was such an enlightening look at the game, but the most amazing thing about it is that it turned a lot of negative perspectives about the game into more positive ones. Just check out some of these tweets. As you can see, it's a massive change in perspective, which is welcome. And by the way, huge fan of the creators, do go check them out. But considering how this has helped the perception of the game from some of the most critical fans, it really begs the question as to why the hands-on was kind of buried by Sega, when arguably this video should have been the first one they put out. I feel that this hands-on gives such important context as to why the gameplay loop works, and why the game fits together. Showing those individual aspects on their own could never have achieved this, and the hands-on impressions actually counters concerns raised about the game from those initial impressions. And this in turn brings through even more questions about this god-awful marketing cycle. The vital information was completely missed, and they've damaged the reputation because people think this game is boring and nothing, when really it's not. Do they not have faith in their own product? Was the marketing team trying to market a different game? Or are they stepping in trepidation around the criticisms that have plagued the 3D Sonic games as of late? I don't think we are ever going to understand why Sega decided to market it the way that they have, but at the start of the video I said that I was going to show you how they could have used the same marketing material but actually given people a good impression of the game and shown people what it was. If these videos are the only weapons that Sega has in their arsenal, then using them in the right order is the most important thing. Context to the gameplay and the information about how it all flows together is way more important than seeing Sonic run around for 7 minutes or punch someone in the face for a bit. As seeing the turnaround of opinions as a result of the hands-on impressions, I fully believe that these should have been greenlit as the initial video from IGN, coming a few days after that initial teaser. We know this video created better impressions, gave optimism to the fans, and gave us vital information about the gameplay loop, so just releasing it earlier than the others would have changed perceptions massively. It's really important to know that there's meaning in the gameplay. And Sonic Central, well, that just should have moved to a different time slot, or hell, should have gone into May. Let's be real, it didn't really need to be where it was at that time. It definitely shouldn't need to be said by anyone, but don't release two separate bits of information about the same game on two separate channels at the same time. In an ideal world, of course, Sega would have come out of the gates full force with a deep traditional trailer for the game that showed multiple islands, some of the more traditional Sonic levels, combat, a bit of story as well, show off some of those absolute highlights that this game has to offer. This would have created some well-deserved hype and a better perception of the game to start with, which is the point of marketing a game. But if that's not something that they had ready right now, then that's totally understandable, in which case they definitely should have done the thing that gave the most hype and the most optimism and put that first. But a massive amount of the negativity for Sonic Frontiers came from those first gameplay looks looking boring. By releasing the videos the way that they have, Sega indulged in a poor marketing strategy, but hopefully they're on their way back from it with positive feedback from influencers who have played the demo at Summer Games Fest. And what would really help is a little release of a home demo. You know, release it to us, let us play the game. I think that would be a really great way to take on feedback, but in the end, we'll have to see. So if you're as frustrated with this marketing cycle as I am, please jump in the comments, let me know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Sonic content on the way, and let me know if you agree with me. I'm still cautiously optimistic about Sonic Frontiers, and I do want to play it. I really hope that there's a way that I can get to try it before the game comes out. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.